Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to one of my favorite features on the Ted Show, Heroes Always Welcome, where we spotlight our veteran community, veterans and their transition out of service into civilian life, get some inspiration and motivation from them, talk about the resources that are out there. I'm excited to co-host this always with my dear friend Enrique Acosta Gonzalez with Triad Leadership Solutions. And we have as our special guest today, the one and only Brenda Torress, Nick of Time Marketing. She's going to share a little bit about her journey and some things that she has going on. And, you know, she's a big star right now because she just got off like 75 podcasts. I'm elaborating. I'm embellishing. That's the correct word. We're excited to have you here, Brenda. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's always exciting to not just talk to you, but of course, talk about something that is totally near and dear to my heart, and that is our veteran community. I come from a veteran family, and so for me, I love it. Anytime I get invited to talk about this, it's a very, it's a warm topic that I can definitely expound upon.
Well, good. And that's what we want you to do. But before you do, obviously, I love to give Enrique just a quick shout out and for him to explain who he is and what he does. So do that for me, my co-host with the most.
All right, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you, Ted, for that. Great to have Brenda with us and share this conversation around being a veteran and what that means. But I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, CEO of Triad Leadership Solutions. And basically what we do is we train your leaders to be the best leaders that you can have and want to retain at your companies.
Awesome. Yes, and he is good at it. So he likes to ask the good high-level questions, plus he's a vet, so he can ask those questions. But let's do it. Brenda, give us the 411 before we went live. I said we love origin story. We love to kind of hear about your journey. And so tell us a little bit about Brenda Torress.
Yes, of course. Well, I am a Central Floridian. I could say that I have been here for over 40 years now, but my parents came from an island, Puerto Rico, back in the 80s. And, you know, they wanted us to have a better education. And I feel like I definitely got that. So came to Central Florida when we had Orange Blossom Trail and Gatorland and Tupperware, you know what I mean?
I do.
and dirt roads, you know, I mean, for middle school, it was over an hour on a bus to get to middle school on a dirt part of it, you know, on a dirt road, believe it or not. So Central Florida has not always been what we see it. But, you know, I come from a long line of military service. My grandfather was in the Korean War, and my father was in the Vietnam War, and then my brother joined the Marines, and I joined the Air Force, and my son just got out of the Air Force. So wow. A well-rounded military family. As far as career, and I know that it's going to be kind of funky to transition, how, you know, and we'll go in depth, I'm sure, a little bit more about that, but I was a pharmacist in the Air Force. And I have been involved for the better part of 25 years right here in Central Florida and abroad in marketing with the likes of Bass Pro, NASCAR PGA, hospitality services. Those were, you know, some of our partners working with Marriott and Hilton. And now my own company. So that's, you know, that's really the the condensed version.
Tell me about your service. You chose Air Force. Why?
You know, I make fun of a lot of things. Because my family makes fun of me. They say, "Oh yeah, you took the easy way," you know, and they make fun of the fact that when we were in basic training and we had to do our camping week, you know, that they would pick us up on a bus and put us in a hotel and bring us back, and they're like, "That's a joke," but like, why? But you know, so I always joke back and say, well, because I could, you know. Truth of the matter is that I fell in love with the Air Force, being in Air Force ROTC from high school and then college. So it just defined it. It chose me. I say it chose me. And I did test very, very high. And so as you can imagine, you know, recruiters come knocking when you test very high and they have these very difficult positions to fill because of the length of schools as well as the tenures. So when pharmacy was lacking, candidates or cadets or, or Air Force airmen, they came knocking, and man, my recruiter was relentless. And he's like, okay, you definitely need to come and join the Air Force, and you're going to get this great, amazing job. And I did, and told me that I would have a very good career path, that even if I went part of it as a reserves, that I would get commission and, be able to become an officer. And so I just saw it as a great career opportunity. Plus, I love a good challenge. One of the things that he told me was that the failure rate for pharmacy, that only 17% of those who started the pharmacy school in the Air Force, or any, for that matter, only about 17% made it all the way through. And I love a good challenge. So for me, it was like, okay, well, I want to do that. And it's because, they make you memorize not just the generic drug, but also the street name, and for about 2,000 drugs in only about 10 weeks. And so, wow. Yeah. And what it, contraindications and all the diseases and what it could be and what it cannot be. One of the greatest examples I explain to people on how complicated or easy, or however you want to put it, and so confusing, pharmacology can be. The same thing that you could use as a sleep aid is what people use for allergies. Same exact drug. So if you buy it for sleeping, you're going to pay 4 times the amount. But if you just walk over to aisles and buy it for allergies, it's the same exact formulation, and you're going to pay $2.30 under the Walgreens name, and you're taking the same thing.
Well, Brenda just became my best friend.
Right?
So, so you learn all these things. And so because it's so much information and all the formulas and all of those things, is a very complicated school, and not many people like it. And that for me was like, okay, well, that's what I want to do. And
did you always know pharmacy? Did you always know that you wanted?
No.
So how did that choose you?
Again, it chose me. It was available. It was a very high, low demand, meaning they had so many vacancies because it was so difficult. The minute that anyone who was aspiring to be in the Air Force heard, yeah, you're going to be in school for about 16 weeks, which for those who haven't been in the military know that for just that part of school is very long. Schools, they tend to be anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks, for most military careers. And so when you hear 16 weeks just to get to that part of the school, and then there's a second level to that school, because you also have to do the med tech part, most people say, nah, they want to be immediately in their career. 1, and then 2, that it's heads down studying all day, because, there is only about a 17% success rate. Most people say, no, that's not me, just make me do something else. And so, I love a good challenge. So out of the entire list, out of the entire list, he kind of begged me and said, I really need you to do this for me. They get bonuses. We all know that, and certain recruiters get bonuses. And he told me, you're meant for this. You're perfect for this. And I believed him. And I loved a good challenge. And I said, I'm doing it. And I did it.
When you left, did you continue on in that career? One of the things we talk about a lot is the transition out, that it can be very difficult. You have a very specific thing that you studied for, but a lot of times vets struggle because they have a certain thing that they do in the military and it doesn't convert out into civilian life, into big corporate. But you had this training, and you're shaking your head like you did not continue in pharmacy. So what happened?
Well, I'm also one of those people that always think outside of the box. And so I like freedom. And I grew up actually prior to joining the Air Force in the hospitality industry. I started working at Disney through middle school and high school in the entertainment department. So I always had that on one side. And so I always tell people, yes, trust me, it makes sense. I took my pharmacology training as well as leadership and said, when you have so much, you have to think that when you are in entertainment, in my case, an actress, and you have to memorize so many lines so quickly, That's exactly what I had to do in the Air Force. So I don't know who trained who. If hospitality trained me to be a pharmacist, or if pharmacists taught me to be a great marketer. Because as in great marketing, you have to do a couple of things. You have to listen to a lot of information and translate that lots of information into a success formula or prescription for your clients. And so I always said, okay, well, it made sense. If I train my brain to remember so much and to pay fine-tuned detail to the things that matter, because in pharmacy is a matter of life or death, then if I am able to do that and think on my feet and remember a lot of details, then when I sit down with a client, I am able to have a very thorough conversation and think outside the box and be very creative and have a lot of thoughts going at the same time, because I can handle all that information. And so that's how it translated well for me. I took what I knew on the creative and exciting and entertainment side and put that together with the very solid retainment of information and be able to translate that into great marketing.
So the marketing, I know, I'm sure Enrique, I've been taking over. Enrique, I'm sure you have the high level questions.
Well, I wanted to ask something that's very important, Brenda, and most people don't understand the value of, is that junior ROTC and ROTC program. So tell me about how that impacted your resiliency or ability to succeed in that challenging school by having that as your background.
Yes, I think that when you start very early on, so for those who may not know how the ROTC program works, it's almost like being in a mini military for a very short amount of times during your high school, which is a very flexed and fluid. Nowadays, you know, I walk through, pick up my nieces, and I'm like, holy cow, they walk around in.
Nope. She froze on us.
Flip-flop in the
There
mall.
she is. That's why we have editing. You still there, Brenda? It's a good pose, though. I see the sun in the background.
There we go. Are we better?
You're still. Your voice is pretty good, but your picture is completely buffered. It's really almost frozen.
Okay.
It almost looks like a live photograph.
I can see myself now, and I see you guys. Okay.
You can keep,
well,
go ahead and keep talking.
Let me know
we'll
when, and you know, I can. Okay, sounds good. So, you know, when you are in a very fluid space, such as middle school and high school, where there's so many personalities and there is so much going on, and you're able to refine certain students to be able to do exactly the same thing, dress the same thing, and go through the same regimen, and you're able to discipline that certain group of kids within the mix of total fluidity, you're already training those students to be able to follow leadership. And so for me to be able to do that within middle school and high school, and in all the schools, we stand out like a sore thumb. You know, 1 day a week, you have to dress up in full uniform. You have to, you have to follow information, and you have to follow certain processes and procedures and learn lots of scripting. Again, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand, and learn a lot of scripting, you know, that have to do with our patriotism and our service and leadership qualities. And when you're able to do that, where everything else is so fluid, that is just fascinating and such preparatory perfection for when you go in the military. Because let me tell you, there were plenty of airmen that in basic training were so lost, and I felt like I just was miles ahead. So it could be, it's a catch-22, because immediately they knew, they could identify that I was able to follow the commands and the directions, and immediately and right away. So I got yelled at in the face real quick. They're like, yeah, you're a squadron leader now. And you're like, holy cow, because they know. Right? So, but it definitely prepares you. And so it is a great way, you know, to learn to do the one thing that has to be equal for every single member, even if it's just once a week.
It's amazing.
Yes.
All right. Tell me about marketing. So we go from pharmacy, which to me is all memorization, and I don't know, that seems to be left brainy to me. And now you go to marketing, and you have your own company, Nick of Time Marketing. Why marketing?
Well, again, taking from pharmacy, you had to think on your feet and you had to remember a lot of things. So data is a big thing. And so to be able to translate that data to a result. So that's what I see in marketing. Marketing for me was always fascinating. It's what I took in school. So I do have a degree in business management and specialty in marketing. And everything about it, the creativity, the colors, I call it the neon, the stuff they throw at you to create something out of nothing. That to me was always fascinating. Right now, what we specifically do, and the part that I love the most, is the fact that we take over for clients and address a very specific pain point. There's so many facets of marketing, and so we specifically focus on a few things. The biggest thing that we focus on is social media takeover. So for our clients, we take over their social media accounts and we organically design posts that are very specific to their industry. So again, we very quickly learn about their industry. And so we don't do any stock content, and we design every single post, do all the captioning, all the hashtagging, and any tags of anyone else who may be involved in order to gain that audience and create greater visibility. So that's one of the biggest pillars of what we do. The second big pillar of what we do is graphic design. Anything from a small as a business card. Our biggest project and success story as of recent was the entire front of a business glass window over by Millennia. So that's our biggest project.
Wow.
Bigger than a billboard. So anything that needs the signing, postcards, vehicle. We're working on a Ford F-250 vehicle wrap right now, which is also going to be a pretty fascinating project. But anything, whether it's digital or goes on print, we work on that. And so those are our two biggest pillars. We save the average business 4 hours a week, not because they don't believe in marketing, but because one of two things: they don't have the time for it. They prefer someone else who does it day in and day out to do it for them. Or number two, they get really excited about it. They believe in it and they post a few things and then it goes dead because they lack new stuff. They lack the creativity of, oh my gosh, what do I post next? And so it's inconsistent. And so they hire people like us to make sure that they have consistency in their presence, and that visibility then starts turning into credibility.
I think marketing is an interesting arena because there are so many people who claim to be marketing people, own marketing companies, know how to do marketing, that claim they know how to do social media management. And it's a lot of it's I swear it's like a scheme. There are so many people. I got somebody who tried to pitch me recently, and it was, I don't know, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for something I'm relatively sure. That didn't include the ads, by the way. But they had no reference. So it's not like, I don't mind paying money, but it's more about the references. And they said, well, you're kind of like our second client that we pitched. And I go, well, good for you. But let me tell you about your pricing with your lack of experience. So marketing is one of those things, though. If you have a gift at it, there's lots of ways for you to be creative and be impactful in the business world. I have to wrap it up. But I want to ask another question. Do you have any advice for a veteran who is either struggling with, they've gotten out and being in the corporate world is just a struggle for them? Anything maybe that you did or that you could recommend that they do to maybe begin a journey down a different path that won't be so frustrating?
So one of the first things I will say, you're not alone, number one, and believe it when someone says, I am a resource for you and I'm here for you. And so with that, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. If anyone listening in any way related to me or felt connected to me, I am speaking directly to you right now. And I will tell you, I will open up my arms and say, I am a resource for you, just like I know Enrique is and many others are. There are plenty. But it does start, attach yourself to one person who is genuinely willing to at least have a conversation with you and make you feel heard. And if you need more resources than that, then that one person, if they have the right heart in the right place, they will guide you to the many other resources. So what I say with that is, don't be overwhelmed. I am saying I am a resource. I know Enrique is. So attach yourself to the one person. Believe them when they say I am a resource, and we will help you with all the other many resources. So that way it's not as overwhelming for you. Plenty of them in our area. And I am excited to say that I am involved with many that I'm very proud to be associated with, such as Camaraderie Foundation and FAVOV and so many great programs. So at least attach yourself to me. If I gain your attention in any way, I will be happy to just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to have a conversation, make you feel heard, and connect you.
And I know Enrique's the same. And although I'm not a vet, you can absolutely get to me and I will get you to someone. Brenda, you're a joy. I love it. I want you to come back. I think you have a lot more to share. I think marketing is an interesting business. But I want to encourage people who are looking for a marketing person. Why not work with a vet and work with a vet who's got experience? Check out your experience and your references, people, because wow, there's a lot of crazies out there that are trying to figure out how to capitalize on people not understanding social media and marketing. So kudos to you. You know, I think the world of both of you, and I thank you for your service. We're back every week. If you are struggling, reach out to me, reach out to Brenda, reach out to Enrique. I will get you to them if you want to talk directly with them. The point is, we don't want you to struggle. We want to try to help you. And Brenda had great advice there. She will be a resource for you. And I know Enrique will too. We appreciate you guys. What a blessing to have you on. Brenda, see, it went fast. Nick of Time Marketing, all of that scrolling across your bottom screen there. TriadLeadershipSolutions.com as well for Enrique. Bless you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. You're not alone.